Hello everybody, I hope you are well. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be dissecting the Arsenal squad and addressing what we need in this summer transfer window. This is on the backs of lots of links to Victor Gyökeres and Benjamin Sesko. I'm going to say who my ideal targets are and who I think we should be in for in this transfer window. As always, if you do enjoy, please be sure to like and subscribe for more Arsenal and football related content from me. Thank you very much for watching. To properly address the needs within the squad, we will go through the current squad as it is. So after Neto's gone on loan, we only have Raya. It looks like Kepa's coming in for £5 million. We will discuss that in due course. As a fullbacks, we have Miles Lewis-Skelly, Calafiori, Kieran Tierney, Zinchenko, Timber, Tomiyasu, Ben White. We know that Tierney is now signed for Celtic on a pre-contract, so he is no longer on this list. We know Zinchenko has been linked to AC Milan for a sale. He looks like he might be out the door. In terms of centre-half options, we purely have Kivior, Gabriel and Saliba. Granted, many of the other positions in fullback, so Timber, Tomiyasu, Ben White, can also play centre-half, and Calafiori, so we are covered on that degree. In terms of in the midfield, we have Thomas Partey, who's out of contract and is currently negotiating for a new deal. Jorginho, who's left to, is it Flamengo? Declan Rice, Marino, Ødegaard and Waneri. Coming back from loan is Lokonga and Vieira. We know that Nuno Tavares as a left-back has been sold as part of that loan deal. In terms of in the attack, we have Reece Nelson coming back from loan from Fulham, Saka, Trossard, Martinelli, Havertz and Jesus. But Jesus is out for an ACL for the foreseeable. Going through this list then, let's look at key areas that Arsenal will need to address shortly. Saliba's contract has got 2 years left after this summer, so it's important to get him signed down to a new deal. If you're going to sell or he's not going to sign a renewal, now is the time to cash in. His value is at an all-time high. That is something that needs to be addressed one way or another. In terms of the fullback areas, more so the left side of defence, you've got Tierney, Zinchenko looking like they're leaving. Kivior could also join AC Milan. And that means that we would be in need for a left-sided centre-back / full-back. The rest of the back line, though, in my opinion, is okay. Tomiyasu's obviously had his injuries, but he'll be coming back to fitness shortly. In the midfield, Jorginho is needed to be replaced. We may also need a Partey replacement, so that's a minimum of 2 bodies if Partey doesn't sign. And in my opinion, my personal opinion, I also think we could do with a creative backup midfielder for Martin Ødegaard should we decide not to use Fabio Vieira for the upcoming season. Jesus is out until January at least with his ACL, meaning that we only have Havertz as a viable option as a striker, so we need a striker in the forward areas. Nelson's also set to leave after his loan spell with Fulham and a big injury towards the end of it, meaning that we probably need 2 to 3 forwards, whether that be a striker and a winger, striker 2 wingers, 2 strikers a winger, whichever way you want to do it. We could do with 2 or 3 forwards. In terms of then, we need a backup goalkeeper, a left-sided defender, a 1 or 2 midfielders, maybe even 3, depends on the depends if you want the creative midfielder that I discussed before, and 2 forwards minimum. So let's start with the goalkeeper. As discussed before, Kepa Arrizabalaga had a great season on loan at Bournemouth. Before he went on loan at Bournemouth, he signed a new contract reportedly with Chelsea that lowered his wage to £75,000 a week. It also included a £5 million release clause. To my mind, I think £5 million for a 30-year-old goalkeeper as a backup is good money. Premier League proven experience, quality from last few seasons when he's been on loan, and is quite cheap. He had a torrid time, obviously, when he first joined Chelsea for, what was it, a record fee of £80-odd million, but cheap wages, solid option backup. Inaki Kana is Spanish, so is David Raya, so he seems to fit the goalkeeper mould that we also have. He will be signing to try and push Raya. I don't believe he'll be able to usurp Raya, but as a backup option, we could do a lot worse, and he's definitely an upgrade on Neto, who we had last season. In terms of the left-sided defender, I think Kivior probably will leave to AC Milan maybe later in the window. Zinchenko looks like he's on his way out. We know that Bayern wanted him for 15 million in January, or 20 million. And also, with regards to the left side, we've lost Kieran Tierney. That means that on the left back, we only really have Timber, who can play there, sort of, Miles Lewis-Skelly and Calafiori. So for me, personally, I would bring in a centre-back who can also play on the left side, especially with Kivior leaving. So, For me, that would mean the links with Gerald Hatto have been very good. We've also been linked to Mark Gahey. For me personally, I would definitely side with Gerald Hatto just for the price tag, for the potential, and also because he can develop into a very good player, and Mikel can really put his stamp on his development. I look for the long-term future of the club with my eyes on that one. I think Mark Gahey would probably ask for too much money, and he'd probably want to be a starter more than Hatto would. He also can't play at left back necessarily very well. So for me, I would personally go with Jarell Hatto. Then you go into the midfielders. Zubimendi is seemingly a done transfer according to all reputable outlets, whether that be David Ornstein or Fabrizio Romano. So without a shadow of doubt, I believe Zubimendi will get done, and that is a very good replacement for Jorginho. If Partey doesn't sign, which I do think he should because he's got a lot to offer for the club, then I would want a Premier League proven midfielder to back up the arrival of Zubimendi. So my two options that I have thought about would be Youri Tielemans from Villa or Onana from Villa. Both Prem proven, both very solid. Obviously, Onana's a little bit younger than Tielemans, but Georgie and Partey were old. Jorginho was 33, Partey's 31. So age-wise, we can afford to have another older player in that position. So for me, I'd personally go with Youri Tielemans. He had a great season at Villa. He's Premier League proven. He'd fit right into that place. He can play attacking midfield, defensive midfield, and central midfield. He's very good at progressing the ball forwards, very good long-range passes. His one issue is his physicality. He's not the quickest, but I think he would be a very good, sensible signing. Villa also look like they need to sell with their wage to ratio turnover for PSR. So Youri Tielemans would be a sensible option in midfield should we be able to get that done. In terms of the forward options then, so the reason, this is the reason you probably clicked on the video to see who I prefer out of Gyökeres or Sesko. Now for me, there isn't a perfect signing out there. If we could get Isak, that would be perfect, but obviously he's not for sale this summer. Personally, out of Gyökeres, Watkins and Sesko, I would personally go for Watkins because he's the only Premier League proven one. You could probably get him for around 40 million from Villa again this summer, and I believe it would mean that we could wait until next summer before investing heavily on the striker. Like, yes, we need a striker, but if Newcastle don't get the Champions League next season, Isak might be available, and that ready, sure-made option might become apparent at that point. So personally, I would go with Watkins. I believe the club will sign Sesko. I'd rather Sesko than Gyökeres based on what we need in a striker. We look at how many crosses we put into the box that don't get met from our players. We also need speed and transition. These are two areas that Arsenal massively lack in. So for me, over Gyökeres, I would go Benjamin Sesko. In terms of wingers, this is where I would put the major outlay in. In terms of the forward, there's been links with Nusa, Rodrigo, and Nico Williams. All linked. For me, if you can get Rodrigo, even if it's later in the window, you go for Rodrigo. It's a no-brainer. He's the best in class in his position that's available at the moment on the market, and he is sublime. He also apparently wants to play on the left-hand side, where Real Madrid will not play him because they've got Vinicius Jr. and Mbappe. Unless Vinicius moves to Saudi, which is unlikely, then I think we should try to go for Rodrigo. So for me, the signings across this window, who I don't believe to be too unrealistic, is Kepa for obviously 5 million, Hato, Zubimendi, Tielemans, Rodrigo, and Watkins will be my choice. I think it'll be probably Rodrigo Sesko or even Nico Williams Sesko. But that's my choice as to who I would want Arsenal to sign in this summer transfer window. Please let me know in the comments below who you want the Gunners to sign. Thank you for watching. If you are new, please be sure to like and subscribe, as I said before, and I'll see you next time. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.